Ever wonder where America's veterans actually live after they hang up the uniform? Buckle up, because we're about to count down the 10 U.S. states with the highest percentage of military veterans per capita. We're not talking about raw numbers. California has the most veterans total, but that's because California has 40 million people. We're talking about concentration, which states have woven military service so deeply into their culture that 1 in 10 adults has worn the uniform. These aren't just states with military bases. Some of these places don't even have major installations. What they have is something deeper, a culture where service runs through families like a bloodline, where veterans don't just retire and leave, they retire and stay. And before you assume this is about big population states or urban military hubs, think again. The number 1 state has fewer than 750,000 people total, but 1 in 10 adults served. The national average? About 6%. These states aren't just above average, they're defining what it means to have a military culture. Don't forget to like or hype this video if you loved it, and of course, subscribe. Let's count down the states where veterans aren't statistics. They're your neighbors, your co-workers, and the backbone of the community. Let's start with the Pacific Gateway, where service is legacy. Number 10, Hawaii. Welcome to Hawaii, where Pearl Harbor isn't just history, it's a living reminder that this state has been America's Pacific defense anchor for over a century. Hawaii's veteran population sits at 8.2% of adults, significantly above the national average of 6.1%. That's nearly 90,000 veterans calling the islands home. Here's why Hawaii makes the list. Pearl Harbor's shadow looms large. The 1941 attack defined Hawaii's military identity. Generations of military families have stayed, creating a culture where service is almost expected. Pacific Command Headquarters, U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, INDOPACOM, oversees all U.S. military operations across half the globe. Hawaii isn't just strategically important, it's command central for the Pacific Theater. Multi-generational military families. Many Hawaii residents have grandfathers who served in World War II, fathers who served in Vietnam, and sons/daughters who deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Service runs in families. Quality of life. Veterans retire here and stay. The weather, the lifestyle, and the strong veteran community make Hawaii attractive for those finishing their military careers. But here's where it gets interesting. Hawaii's cost of living is brutal. Housing prices are among the highest in the nation, and everything costs more because it's shipped thousands of miles across the ocean. Yet veterans stay. That tells you something about how strong the military community is. People are willing to pay a premium to live among others who served. Still, Hawaii's veteran population proves that proximity to active military operations creates veteran communities that last generations. Once you're part of the island's military culture, you're family. Hawaii, where Pearl Harbor's legacy lives and veterans choose paradise over the mainland. Expensive paradise, but paradise nonetheless. Up next, the quiet heartland where Patriots settle. Number 9, South Dakota. Welcome to South Dakota, where Mount Rushmore reminds you what service looks like, and 8.2% of adults have actually lived it. South Dakota ties with Hawaii in percentage, but tells a completely different story. This is rural America, wide open spaces, and a culture that values independence, hard work, and duty. Here's why South Dakota is number 9. Ellsworth Air Force Base. Home to the 28th Bomb Wing, Ellsworth AFB houses B-1B Lancer bombers. It's one of South Dakota's largest employers and a magnet for veterans who settle nearby after service. Minuteman missiles. South Dakota hosted Minuteman ICBM silos during the Cold War. Though decommissioned, that military presence shaped the state's identity. Rural values align with military values: discipline, self-sufficiency, and community. South Dakota's culture mirrors military culture. Veterans fit right in. Low cost of living. After serving, many veterans want space, land, and affordability. South Dakota offers all three. No state income tax doesn't hurt either. But here's the catch. South Dakota is cold. Winters are brutal, with temperatures regularly hitting negative 20 degrees or lower. The state's small population, under 900,000, means fewer job opportunities, especially in specialized fields. Yet veterans stay. That tells you something about finding a community that values what you've done. Still, South Dakota's high veteran percentage isn't about military bases. It's about a culture that honors service and a lifestyle that appeals to people who've spent years following orders and want freedom, land, and independence. South Dakota, where Mount Rushmore watches over veterans who chose wide-open spaces, brutal winters, and a culture that gets it. Next in the list, the Pacific Northwest's surprising veteran haven. Number 8. Oregon. Welcome to Oregon, where you wouldn't expect a high veteran population, but 8.3% of adults served, and many chose to stay for reasons that have nothing to do with military bases. Oregon doesn't have massive military installations. It's not a defense industry hub, yet it ranks number 8 in veteran concentration. Why? Here's the Oregon veteran story. Quality of life. Oregon offers mountains, coast, forests, and a culture that values outdoor recreation. For veterans tired of base life, Oregon offers space and adventure. VA healthcare access. Oregon has robust VA facilities, including the Portland VA Medical Center, one of the most comprehensive in the Pacific Northwest. Healthcare matters when you've served. No sales tax. Oregon is one of 5 states with no sales tax. For veterans on fixed incomes or military pensions, that's a financial advantage. Post 9/11 influx. Many veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan relocated to Oregon after service, drawn by job opportunities in Portland's tech scene and the state's veteran-friendly reputation. But here's where it gets complicated. Oregon is expensive. Portland's housing costs rival major metros, and the state income tax is high. Rural Oregon is affordable, but job opportunities are limited. Still, veterans keep coming. That lifestyle and community pull is real. And Oregon's veteran population skews younger than other states on this list. These aren't World War II or Vietnam vets. These are Gulf War and post 9/11 veterans who chose Oregon deliberately, not because they were stationed there. Oregon, where veterans trade military bases for mountain trails, and service members choose the Pacific Northwest for reasons that have nothing to do with orders. Next state where live free or die isn't just a motto. Number 7. New Hampshire. Welcome to New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die, and 8.3% of adults took that philosophy so seriously they joined the military to defend it. New Hampshire ties Oregon in percentage, but the vibe is completely different. This is New England independence, libertarian values, and a tax structure that makes veterans very happy. Here's why New Hampshire ranks number 7. No state income tax. New Hampshire doesn't tax wages or salaries. For veterans receiving military pensions or disability benefits, that's real money saved. No sales tax. Combined with no income tax, New Hampshire is a financial haven for retirees, including military retirees. Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Located on the Maine-New Hampshire border, the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard has been building and repairing submarines since 1800. Generations of veterans have ties to this installation. Libertarian culture. New Hampshire attracts people who value self-reliance, minimal government, and personal freedom, values that resonate with many veterans. But here's the reality check. New Hampshire is small, 1.4 million people, and expensive. Housing costs in southern New Hampshire, near Boston, are astronomical. Winters are harsh. Job opportunities outside of the Boston metro area are limited. Yet veterans choose New Hampshire deliberately. The live free or die culture isn't marketing, it's real. Veterans who want low taxes, personal freedom, and a community that doesn't ask much of you but expects you to pull your weight find New Hampshire appealing. New Hampshire, where live free or die means something, veterans keep their money and the state leaves you alone. Just how many vets like it? Up next in the list, where Marines are made and veterans stay. Number 6, South Carolina. Welcome to South Carolina, where Parris Island has been forging Marines since 1915, and 8.5% of adults know what it means to earn that Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. South Carolina doesn't just have veterans, it creates them, and many never leave. Here's why South Carolina is number 6. Parris Island Marine Corps Recruit Depot. Every Marine who enlists east of the Mississippi starts at Parris Island. Drill instructors, support staff, and Marines on recruiting duty often retire nearby, creating a massive veteran community. Fort Jackson, the Army's largest basic training installation. Fort Jackson trains over 50% of all Army soldiers. Instructors and cadre often settle in Columbia after retirement. Charleston's military ecosystem, Joint Base Charleston, Naval Weapons Station Charleston, and Coast Guard operations create a dense military presence. Veterans retire and stay for the jobs, climate, and community. Military-friendly culture. South Carolina offers property tax breaks for disabled veterans, in-state tuition for veteran dependents, and a culture that genuinely appreciates service. But here's where it gets interesting. South Carolina is hot and humid. Summers are oppressive, and hurricanes are a regular threat. The cost of living is rising, especially near Charleston. Yet the veteran community is so strong, people deal with it. The Marine Corps connection runs deep. Parris Island isn't just a base, it's a rite of passage. Marines who went through the crucible there often return after service, drawn by the shared experience and the brotherhood that place represents. South Carolina, where Marines are made at Parris Island, and many never leave. Because once you earn the title here, this place is part of you. Viewer check-in. Are you a military veteran? If yes, where are you from? We'd love to hear it. Let's continue. Next state, the northeastern outpost with a naval soul. Number 5, Maine. Welcome to Maine, where 8.7% of adults served. Lobster boats share harbors with naval vessels, and the state's shipbuilding legacy runs deeper than most people realize. Maine doesn't have sprawling military bases like Virginia or massive defense contractors like California. What Maine has is a maritime military tradition that goes back centuries. Here's why Maine ranks number 5. Bath Iron Works. One of the oldest shipyards in America, Bath Iron Works has been building U.S. Navy destroyers since 1884. Generations of Maine families have worked there, many of them veterans who stayed after service. Naval Air Station Brunswick, former. Though closed in 2011, NAS Brunswick was a major P-3 Orion anti-submarine warfare hub. Veterans who were stationed there during the Cold War often stayed in Maine. Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Technically in New Hampshire, but serving both states, Portsmouth has been a submarine repair and construction hub for over 200 years. Rural veteran appeal. Maine offers land, privacy, and a culture that values self-sufficiency. Veterans who want to disappear into the woods, fish, hunt, and be left alone, Maine is perfect. But here's the catch. Maine is cold, remote, and economically struggling in many areas. The population is aging, median age 45, job opportunities outside tourism and healthcare are limited, and winters last 6 months. Yet veterans stay or move there deliberately. Maine's veteran population isn't about active bases. It's about a shipbuilding legacy, a maritime culture, and a lifestyle that appeals to people who value independence and natural beauty over convenience and career advancement. Maine. Where naval tradition runs deep, veterans build destroyers and then retire to the woods, and vacation land is code for "we'll leave you alone." Next in the list, where freedom, space, and service define the culture. Number 4, Wyoming. Welcome to Wyoming. Where 9.4% of adults served in the military, the state has more antelope than people, and service is woven into the fabric of the least populated state in America. Wyoming has fewer than 600,000 people total. For the uniform, that concentration is staggering. Here's why Wyoming ranks number 4. Francis E. Warren Air Force Base. Home to the 90th Missile Wing, which operates 150 Minuteman III ICBMs scattered across 9,600 square miles. Warren AFB has been a fixture in Cheyenne since 1867. Enlistment culture. Wyoming has one of the highest per capita military enlistment rates in the nation. Service isn't just respected, it's expected in many families. Frontier values. Wyoming's culture mirrors military values: duty, honor, self-reliance, and sacrifice. Veterans fit seamlessly into a state that already thinks like they do. Space and independence. After years of barracks, formations, and orders, Wyoming offers what many veterans crave: land, freedom, and the ability to live without neighbors within miles. But here's the reality. Wyoming is brutal, Winters are long, wind is constant, and economic opportunities are limited. Oil, gas, tourism, ranching, that's about it. The population is so small that many towns don't even have a grocery store. Yet veterans choose Wyoming. The appeal is simple: freedom. Wyoming doesn't have state income tax, doesn't care what you do on your land, and respects people who've served without making a big deal about it. That's powerful for veterans who are done with bureaucracy and just want to be left alone. Wyoming, where the wind never stops, and veterans choose freedom, space, and a culture that mirrors the military without the military. Up next, the Big Sky Country, bigger military culture. Number 3, Montana. Welcome to Montana, where 8.9% of adults served, and roughly 1 in 13 Montanans has worn a military uniform. That's one of the highest concentrations in America. Montana doesn't have a massive military presence. It has one Air Force base, Malmstrom in Great Falls, yet it ranks number 3 nationally. Why? Here's the Montana veteran story. Malmstrom Air Force Base, home to the 351st Missile Wing, Malmstrom operates 150 Minuteman III ICBMs spread across 23,500 square miles of Montana prairie. Veterans from Malmstrom often stay after retirement. Enlistment culture. Montana has a high per capita enlistment rate. Service runs in families. Fathers who served expect sons and daughters to consider it. Veteran retention. Once veterans experience Montana, big sky, mountains, hunting, fishing, space, many don't want to leave. The lifestyle hooks them. Rural values. Montana's culture values independence, hard work, and self-sufficiency. Veterans thrive in places where their skills and mindset are respected without fanfare. But here's where it gets complicated. Montana is remote, cold, and economically limited. Winters last 6 months. Job opportunities outside Missoula, Bozeman, and Billings are scarce. Yet Montana's veteran population continues growing. Veterans move to Montana because it offers what many crave after service: space to breathe, a culture that respects them without fawning over them, and a community where being a veteran is normal, not exceptional. Montana doesn't make a big deal about veterans. It just welcomes them, leaves them alone, and lets them integrate quietly into communities that already think like they do. Montana, where 1 in 13 served, Big Sky Country offers big freedom, and veterans choose mountains, hunting, and a culture that mirrors the military without the politics. Second to the last state, the Pentagon's backyard and America's defense hub. Number 2, Virginia. Welcome to Virginia. Where 9.1% of adults served, the Pentagon casts its shadow over the entire northern part of the state. And military service isn't just common, it's part of the economy. Virginia ranks number 2, and it's not hard to see why. This is America's defense nerve center. Here's why Virginia is a veteran magnet. The Pentagon. The Department of Defense headquarters employs tens of thousands directly and creates an entire ecosystem of defense contractors, consultants, and former military officers who settle nearby. Naval Station, Norfolk, the largest naval base in the world. Home to aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines, and the Atlantic Fleet headquarters. Veterans retire near Norfolk because the base offers healthcare, commissary access, and a massive veteran community. Joint Base Langley-Eustis, Air Combat Command Headquarters. If America is flying combat missions, they're being coordinated from Langley. Quantico Marine Corps Base, Marine Corps Combat Development Command, FBI Academy, and DEA training facility. Quantico is a military and federal law enforcement hub. Defense contractors, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, Booz Allen Hamilton, and hundreds more have headquarters or major offices in Virginia. Veterans transition seamlessly from military to defense industry jobs. But here's the catch. Northern Virginia is expensive. Traffic is brutal, consistently ranked among the worst in the nation. Cost of living rivals major metros. Yet veterans stay because the job opportunities in defense, government, and contracting are unmatched. Virginia doesn't just have veterans, it employs them. The defense industry ecosystem ensures that retiring military members can stay, work, and thrive without leaving the culture they know. Virginia. Where the Pentagon looms, Norfolk commands the Atlantic, and veterans don't retire. They transition into defense jobs and stay in the only place that feels like home. And in number 1, don't be surprised, the last frontier where 1 in 10 served. Number 1, Alaska. Welcome to Alaska, where 10.5% of adults are military veterans, making it the state with the highest concentration of former service members in America. 1 in 10 Alaskans served. Think about that. Walk into any Alaskan bar, grocery store, or community event, and chances are the person next to you wore the uniform. That's not just a statistic, that's a culture. Here's why Alaska is undisputed number 1. Strategic Cold War legacy. During World War II, Alaska was a frontline state. The U.S. built major bases near Anchorage and Fairbanks to counter Japanese threats in the Aleutians and prepare for potential Soviet aggression across the Bering Strait. At one point in 1943, military personnel represented over 60% of Alaska's total population. Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, JBER. Located in Anchorage, JBER combines an Air Force base and an Army post. It's home to F-22 Raptors, C-17 cargo aircraft, and Army airborne units. JBER is one of Alaska's largest employers. Eielson Air Force Base. Located near Fairbanks, Eielson hosts F-35 fighter jets and serves as a strategic location for Pacific operations. In winter, temperatures drop to 40-degree Machtwand. Training here is brutal and unforgettable. Coast Guard presence. Alaska has more Coast Guard stations than any other state. Kodiak, Juneau, Sitka, Cordova, Petersburg, Valdez, and Anchorage all have Coast Guard operations. The Coast Guard makes up 10% of Alaska's military population. Veterans stay. After serving in Alaska, many service members fall in love with the state and never leave. They retire, buy land, and integrate into communities that already value independence, resilience, and hard work. Enlistment culture. Alaska has one of the highest per capita military enlistment rates in the nation. Alaskan families pass down service traditions. If your father served, you're expected to consider it. But here's where it gets interesting. Alaska is brutal. Winters are dark, cold, and isolating. Cost of living is astronomical. Everything is shipped in. Job opportunities outside Anchorage, Fairbanks, and the oil industry are limited. Many communities aren't even accessible by road. Yet veterans not only stay, they thrive. Alaska offers something unique, a frontier mentality, a community that values what you've done without making a big deal about it, and a lifestyle where military skills, discipline, resilience, problem-solving are practical daily necessities. Alaska veterans hunt, fish, build, and integrate into communities where being tough isn't a personality trait. It's a survival requirement. The state doesn't coddle anyone, and veterans appreciate that. And here's the kicker. Alaska's veteran population includes everyone from World War II survivors who fought in the Aleutian Campaign to post-9/11 veterans who deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Generations of military families call Alaska home, creating a culture where service isn't exceptional. It's expected. Alaska, where 1 in 10 served, the last frontier rewards resilience, and veterans choose brutal winters, darkness, and isolation because freedom, community, and purpose matter more than comfort. If you want to know which states have the lowest veteran populations, stick more for a bit. So there you have it, the 10 U.S. states with the highest percentage of military veterans per capita. Wait before we wrap it up. If you want to support the channel, our Super Thanks is available now. This would be a huge help to provide you more entertaining videos. Thanks in advance. From Alaska's frozen frontier to Virginia's Pentagon Empire, these states prove that veteran concentration isn't about population size or major bases alone. It's about culture, values, and where veterans choose to settle after service. Some patterns are clear. Rural states dominate the top 10. Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, these aren't population centers. They're places where independence, self-reliance, and hard work are cultural pillars. Veterans fit right in. And here's the brutal reality. These states don't coddle veterans. They respect them, give them space, and let them integrate quietly. No parades every week. No constant, "thank you for your service" from strangers. Just a nod, a handshake, and a community that values what you did without making it your only identity. The states with the lowest veteran populations? New York, 3.6%, New Jersey, 3.6%, California, 4.3%. Urban, expensive, and politically progressive. Veterans cluster in places where their values align with the culture around them. So which states matter most? The ones where 1 in 10 adults served? The ones where military families span generations? The ones where veterans don't just retire, they find home? If you're wondering whether your state values veterans, don't look at politicians' speeches. Look at the percentage. If it's above 8%, you're living in a place where service runs deep. Click on these videos to watch related topics. Don't forget to like or hype this video and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and to the veterans watching this, welcome home, wherever that is for you.